Hello, my name is Chris. I work for MyCo. Today we're going to talk about a new feature that we've implemented in MyForms version 9.5 called the Contact Server API. As you might already know, in MyForms version 9.5, we've made the offline data capture experience quite a bit better for iPad and Android devices by having less of a server dependence. But sometimes it's useful to actually talk to a server. So today we'll see how that's possible. So we might use this to ask the server to perform a hard task for us. For instance, the server might have better access to a database or third-party validation rule or some other sort of service that we'd like to contact. We might be able to make that happen in the MyForms client application through the JavaScript API, but in certain cases it's just easier to make that happen on the server. So for that reason, we created this new API that exists both on the JavaScript side and on the .NET side. So first, on the JavaScript side, there is a new API. We call it Contact Server. This gives you the ability to customize a command, the ability to provide a full form update to the server, and also receive the response back asynchronously, both in the success and the fail case. On the .NET side, we've created a new event called ServerContacted. This is provided with the information that's passed from the JavaScript side and allows us to return a custom formatted string back to the client application as needed. So let's take a look at an example of how we might use this to do a zip code lookup in our motor vehicle accident report form. This is a standard form that we typically use for demos. If I look on the designer, I can see that I have a zip code constrained text field here. It's a standard constrained text field, as you would see on pretty much any sort of form. Now, I'm going to deploy this on an iPad, so I've written some JavaScript code that I'll show you over here in Visual Studio. You see there's an event called mf after set data. This is an event that is triggered anytime any field gains data on the form. In this case, though, we're going to look for the field name loczip or loczip, and then we're going to call this method called contact server that exists at the form level. It takes a few parameters. The first one, we're going to pass false. This means we don't actually need to tell the server the value of every field in our form. It's not really necessary in this case to do so. If you needed, however, if you had some sort of complicated logic, you might ask the client to send up all of the field values. Then I'm going to pass a custom formatted string. In this case, I'm just going to use the constant zip for zip, comma, and then I'm going to ask the form for the current value of the field loczip. So if I type in a zip code, I'm just going to pass zip, comma, and then whatever that zip code is. Then lastly here, I'm just passing a success handler. This is a function that will be called once the server returns a result. There's actually an optional additional parameter for if there is an error contacting the server as well, but we'll just ignore that case here. You see, however, the function for my success handler right down here, zip success, and when I get this back, I'm going to just split the string I get back, the server response, into two strings separated by a comma and set the value of the city and state. So my simple language here is passing up zip, comma, and then a string, and I'm getting back city, comma, state. That's all I'm doing here. It's very simplistic. If you wanted to use a more complex formatting such as JSON, you could certainly do so. On the .NET side, if I bring up the script editor, there's two things that we should take a look at. First off, on the references, we'll see that we've added a reference to this library called zipcode lookup. It's a pretty simple assembly here. It's just one that we had existing in the past, and I just wanted to make use of it again. So we've added that to the form. Then you see over on the right-hand side, there's a new event, ServerContacted. If I double-click that, we'll see what's going on here. We see that it's just a little bit of .NET to look to see if our command began with zip, because we could have different commands passed up from different portions of the form. If it is, I instantiate a zip code lookup object. I go take a look up, find what my city is, find what my state is, and then just set e.serverResponse, the parameter to the event, I should say the property to the parameter that we're passed in to the value that we get, and we just concatenate them with a comma between them. So this allows us to receive a zip code and then pass back a city, comma, state. So let's take a look at this in action. I will project an iPad onto my device over here, hopefully. And there it goes. And we're already at the point where I have this form loaded up and ready to go on the iPad. And I tap on Motor Vehicle Accident Report. We start the form up. And if I tap on the zip code, I'll get a pop-up keyboard, of course. If I type in a zip code here and tab off it to the next field, we'll see in just a moment that the city and state are populated, in this case with Durham, North Carolina. If I change my mind, come back over here, erase that, and I type 21401 instead, hit next to there, and we'll see we changed to Annapolis, Maryland. This is what's really going on behind the scenes is we're sending up that command to the server. The server is performing the actual lookup in .NET code and sending the results back. So that's a look at the Contact Server API that's available in MyForms version 9.5. We've also added a number of other JavaScript APIs to the solution. If you'd like to learn more about those, go ahead and download a free demo of the MyForms designer or contact us at support@mi-corporation.com, and we'll be happy to help you out. Thanks, and hope you had a good time watching this, and have a good day.